What a beautiful start to the Friday. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Techbud Solutions here with a super quick market update. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. NASDAQ market is in the red, but not by very much, at least not yet. For those that do not know, the overall NASDAQ market was hitting highs of around $6.20 per share. That was leading up to NVIDIA reporting earnings. Of course, after it reported earnings, market began to retrace. I don't support the retracement in the sense of NVIDIA reported amazing earnings in that sense. But am I surprised? No. Just like we talked about in that video, and the feedback was great because everyone seemed to have a level head. They understood that, yes, on the larger picture, NVIDIA was running up before it reported earnings. And it's been a common theme this earnings season that these Mag 7 companies, Microsoft, Google, Meta, they beat earnings. They've exceeded expectation, yet they still drop after beating expectations. So am I surprised by the markets dropping in the sense of they rallied leading up to the earnings and then sell off after? No, it's the common theme or example of buy the rumors, sell the news. And that's what I believe we're seeing right now. Should you be freaking out? Not yet. Overall markets are not doing anything unique or out of the ordinary. And what I mean by that is if you look at it on the 4-hour time frame, the NASDAQ market has had a common resistance range right around 630 to 640 for QQQ, which is the NASDAQ ETF. It's had a common support range right around 600. We're still trading within that range. So did the markets pull back a bit, and is it at a possible support range? Yes. Should you be freaking out and panic selling and oh my gosh, it's doing something now that it hasn't been in the past? No. Overall markets, as in the stock market, the NASDAQ market, and S&P 500 are performing as usual, right? Yes, they got hyped up leading up to earnings. They just corrected themselves, shortly after. It's unfortunate for those that bought into the highs, kind of, but at least you're not buying Bitcoin, right? If you ended up buying NVIDIA, again, it's still one of the most valuable companies or the most valuable company that's publicly traded. I don't think 195 is technically the best deal, but overall big picture, you have, again, one of the most innovative companies in this whole AI revolution, right? They're the ones pretty much selling the shovels to go dig for gold when it comes down to companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. Nonetheless, as of right now, NASDAQ market intraday is consolidating. It's testing a very strong resistance. If we do get rejected here, we'll most likely retest 600 or the low 600s again. So just please be aware of that. Understand overbought and oversold levels intraday, and understand overbought and oversold levels on the larger time frames. Different time frames give you different perspectives. The thing that I also want to share with you is, well, why did markets during the pre-market session sell off a little bit more than what was expected? For those that did not or don't have access to it, it's actually not this. This is the PPI report. This was released 1 hour before the market opens, and market expectation was 3%. We came in at 3.6%. For those that do not know what PPI is, it's the Producer Price Index report. It's pretty much inflation on the producing side of things. It's not always assumed, but it's expected that if inflation is caught on the producing side of things, then that inflation gets passed down to consumers. Obviously, the market always cares more about consumers than producers. So is this good, right? Because you want markets, technically speaking, not saying you directly, but most often, investors want markets to continue to push up. And what do they need for that? Well, they would need the Federal Reserve to cut rates. Well, what does the Federal Reserve need? They need lower inflation because, again, cutting rates is inflationary. So they won't cut rates if inflation is going up. But inflation just went up. Yes, that's correct. So because of this PPI report coming in higher than what was expected, this supports less of a rate cut. This is why markets are dropping. It's not that it's the end of the world. It's just that it supports less of the idea that the Federal Reserve is likely to cut interest rates anytime soon because of this. Not only the PPI report, but now the PCE report, 2 inflation reports. And PCE is the Federal Reserve's favorite measure of inflation. Those came in higher than what was expected. Again, with that being said, core PPI is up. GDP is going down. Not good. AI is replacing jobs. For those that did not see, layoffs so far. Dell, 13,000. Intel, 27,000. Meta, 11,000. UPS, 48,000. FedEx, 12,000. Boeing, 17,000. Verizon, 15,000. Walmart, 12,000. Amazon, 30,000. Microsoft, 15,000. Citigroup, 20,000. Layoffs are happening. Housing market is getting worse. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those updates that, hey, interest rates are down, but guess what? It's still a seller's market. There are significantly more sellers than there are buyers. One of two things, right? You can utilize this time that it's definitely more of a, buyer's market, right? Because there's more sellers than buyers, so buyers are more in high demand, right? More unique. If you're interested in buying a home and you can get it at relatively a low rate, I don't know if markets are going to crash. We can't predict the future, but guess what? You can take advantage of a time like this and lowball people. I can film a whole video kind of what I would like to share with either first-time home buyers or people actually looking into buying a home from my experience. I'm not, I would say, an extreme expert when it comes down to this, but we flip about 1 to 2 properties every single month. Obviously, our intention is to buy a house for a good deal and sell it for a profit. So right now, you can, if you are in the market, more able to ask for seller concessions. And trust me, they've been asked, even on our side when I go and sell a house. But then that's why you have to do a really good job buying a house for a really good deal. But this is the time that it would make sense as long as overall markets don't crash. If that's your concern, then again, I can't predict the future, so I don't know if that's really your concern, that markets are gonna, fully collapse, then I guess you can wait, right? But if you're okay with current interest rates, if you just want a really good deal, the best deals are often found during, in a sense, sellers markets where, or I guess you could call it buyers markets, where there's more sellers than there are buyers. Again, I love talking about this because I love focusing on getting good deals, not just in the stock market, but also in real estate. And again, I can make a whole video about that over the weekend if you would like me to. You guys just let me know down in the comment section. So credit market is feeling the heat. This means that while people are making less money, right? People are making less money, less jobs, all that stuff, right? GDP going down. This means that while people are making less money, the cost of living is going up. Obviously with, inflation still being able to see it upticking. Stagflation is here. So you guys let me know down in the comment section what you think, right? Obviously, when it came down to BTC's performance, especially lately, the part that I love about this is more of my intraday play, right? I'm actively shorting MSTR by being able to go long on MSTZ, which is the double leverage inverse ETF. I would not recommend this ETF for beginners, just a quick little heads up. But this goes up when MSTR goes down. And MSTR, where is it? MSTR goes down when Bitcoin goes down. So I don't trade crypto, I don't trade Bitcoin, but I trade MSTR, right? Bitcoin, or MSTR likes to call itself a Bitcoin treasury. It's a bullshit software AI company that loses what did it report last time? It lost like 10 or $15 billion in its most recent quarter based off of its unrealized gain. Nonetheless, it's just a terrible business, right? Everyone likes to view Michael Saylor as like the king of Bitcoin. He's doing nothing special. Everything that he's doing is anything any company from a publicly traded company can do. But they're too busy actually trying to grow their business. So Michael Saylor's business is just so terrible that this is his like Hail Mary. He's just hoping Bitcoin saves him, right? Nonetheless, some people believed him. They paid the ultimate price. And guess what? MSTR from its overall highs of $543 is now down over 80%, if I'm not mistaken. From highs of 543, it's now trading at lows of 129, which means it's down 75%. Isn't that crazy? So while Michael Saylor dilutes his investors on MicroStrategy, his investors are down 70% from all-time highs. Terrible. He's also down like $9.5 billion on his Bitcoin holdings. Again, it's only going to get worse. And that's the part that I'm really excited about. A lot of crypto traders were trying to point the finger at Jane Street. They're like, oh, that's the reason crypto was failing. I love it that in a space where they always try to look for a scapegoat, right, to blame someone else, there's no accountability. It's never their fault that they took a super leveraged position and got liquidated. It's never their fault that they invested in a speculative asset with no risk management. It's crazy. It's like, it's always everyone else's fault. No, the system is against me. They just don't want me to succeed. But guess what? We don't want Jeffrey Epstein's coin to succeed. The coin that's not used for anything. I thought this was supposed to replace the dollar 15 years ago, right? 15 years ago. There's still no adoption. I've never gone to a store before and they say, hey, we accept Bitcoin. I've seen that they've accept PayPal, EBT, credit cards, all that stuff, right? Never heard of a company accept Bitcoin. Isn't that odd? Again, in my opinion, Bitcoin has always and always will be a speculative asset. Can you make money trading it? Of course, you can make money trading anything. You can make money trading bullshit companies like Opendoor, right? That pump up from 50 cents to $10 and then dump 50% in the next following months. It's like trading shouldn't be the well, you just don't no. Well, it's been 15 years and there's still no adoption of Bitcoin. We know that Jeffrey Epstein was one of the investors in the early development of Bitcoin. And if that's what you want to support, again, it's your money. You're an adult. You can do whatever it is that you want. But my favorite thing is I love shorting it as it sells off by shorting MicroStrategy. Do I recommend shorting to beginners? Of course not. It comes at a greater form of risk. I just love to share my ideas that we've been talking about Bitcoin as it was at highs of 120 per coin. We talked about how risky it was buying it up there. And now all of a sudden, no one wants to talk about who bought it at 120 per coin. But again, it's just looking out for beginners. Anytime that something comes at a greater form of risk and or shows signs of meme stock quality, just call it out, right? If the red flags are there, acknowledge it. You don't have to be perfect. We're never going to be able to call out anything perfectly, and it could always catch another wave of manipulation and irrational valuations and pump up. But guess what? Long-term fundamentals always do matter. And it's always the most irrational and speculative assets that drop the hardest during uncertain times. So if you believe uncertain times are presenting themselves or are going to present themselves this year, then guess what? I want to remind you, this Bitcoin crash or these companies that are struggling right now, they're struggling during one of the most bullish markets ever. Markets are nearly at all-time highs. So if you think that it can't get worse, buckle up. Because it definitely can. If, that's the big if, not saying that they will get worse, if overall markets begin to drop. If we do begin to enter some form of slowdown, recession-like qualities, and markets begin to retrace, can't be surprised that if overall markets begin to retrace, real valuable businesses like Apple, NVIDIA, Meta, then yeah, of course the speculative stocks are going to drop another 50 to 80%. And I'm here for it. Right? Let those crash and we'll focus on buying good quality companies at good deals, right? Appreciate your guys' time. Again, our focus here has always been the same. Look out for beginners, especially when they're being encouraged to invest in speculative, risky assets. So again, if you're a beginner and you're looking to just get started, second link in the description down below. Just like you saw today, I had a trade on MSTZ, made a little bit over $4,000 on it. And again, I trade live in front of my LPP team every morning. Whenever you're ready to join, it's the second link down below. We have members that signed up back in 2018. They paid once and still have access to it today. So if you want to check it out to learn more, second link down below, and we have a discount link there for you. Appreciate your time. Hope and wish you guys an amazing Friday. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.